Hello and welcome to yet another episode of the Modesta Mahiga 360 Leadership Podcast. I am so looking forward to today's session. And if anybody has recently seen a post where I made mention of a financial coach, this lady that I'm about to introduce to you is my financial coach. Let me tell you a little bit about her. Her name is Lulu Massawe. She is a financial specialist based in Murrieta, California. She's a graduate in business management from Bangalore University in India and holds, I'm going to spell it, FINRA investment licenses, Series 6, 63, and 26. Lulu also holds life insurance licenses in several states in the U.S. and is an instructor for insurance agents for PFSU in Southern California. Her sweet spot is in consulting and facilitating for small and medium-sized businesses, as well as individuals wanting to build their assets under management. Her commitment to those she serves is maximizing performance, minimizing fees, reducing or eliminating taxes wherever possible. Ladies and gentlemen, 360 Leadership Community, welcome Lulu Massawe.
Thank you so much, Modesta. What an honor, what a privilege to be here amongst the greats of the greats. 360 Leadership Podcast. Man, it's 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time in California, and there's no other place I'd rather be than here sharing this great platform with you. I honor God for what you do. I thank God for the boldness you have and the courage you've taken to step out and be that go-to person for leaders in our day and even in the days to come and generations to come. I'm so honored this morning, and I look forward to an amazing time with you. Thank you again for having me.
I am so grateful. And the Modesta who push, who kind of pushes things away will probably have made a joke out of that and tried to just make small of that. But I am grateful. I am grateful that you would humble yourself and want to be part of something like this. But I'm also grateful for what you're speaking over my life, because I'm going to call you Sis Lulu. That is actually something that I aspire to do and be and create for others. So thank you. Thank you so very much. Now, I had some questions for you, but I've gotten to know more than just the professional and the facilitation and the consulting side of your life. So if I'm going to go and poke at things, there's nothing really you can do. We're on a live podcast, so what you going to do? You're just going to have to share those stories. So I might go into those, but for real, I want you to please share your story. Why, Lulu, are you so passionate about helping people with personal finance?
Oh, that's a loaded question. Let's see. I'm working on losing some weight, trimming down.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to apply those principles and trim down the questions so that I stay within context. And it's a big behemoth thing, which makes me so passionate, so excited. You meet me, you give me 5 minutes. We're going to talk about a lot of things, but we're going to talk about your money. Why? I'm passionate about it because of the journey I have walked.
Mm-hmm.
Just looking back from, childhood. When you're a kid, you really don't know the financial situation your parents are in. Most of us thought, oh my God, we're the richest people on the planet until you got to sensible age and you're like, oh shoot. When you ask for this, you can't have it, and this, you're like, oh, we're not so rich, And that kind of shaped my journey early on. And losing my mother at 14 years old and leaving my father with two young children, age of 14 and 9, to fend for us with one income gone, changed the trajectory of our lives. And that became a pivotal point for me. As I kept growing, I kept thinking, if mom was here, if her income was here, what would our lives look like? And it began shaping me very early on in my life without even me knowing that it had purpose. And so as an adult, fast forward, married, one of the biggest things was, hey, we got to do better than our parents. We got to go further than our parents. And so I started a quest looking for financial advisors. My husband, I told him, I'm going to find somebody who's going to help us. Every advisor I called in the United States was like, hey, $1,000, $500 for an hour. There was a fee. Now, remember, we were young, broke, didn't have $500.
Mm.
And my thought was, you want me to pay $500 for you to tell me I'm broke? I already know I'm broke. I'm trying to learn strategies to move me forward. And so it became annoying at first. And then it became a quest to find who is out there that can help somebody like me. Like, I don't have the money, but I have the passion. I want to do better. Can you hold my hand and walk with me? And that became the why. The why. When I did find that somebody who didn't charge me a dime, but sat down with me, explained the basics of financial literacy, and held my hand through it, and I began a journey. My husband and I began a journey that gave me hope for the future, and it gave me a passion. I said, you know what? I'm going to turn around and go and do the same for somebody else. And so that's where really it came from, just a passion to get better. And when I found somebody who could help me, I was like, okay, I know there are people like me out there that need help and don't have the money for a financial advisor, you know. And so my sweet spot is the middle income family. My sweet spot is the person that says, hey, I don't have much, but I do have a vision and I want to move forward just because of where I walked and the struggle we had in finding that person that could do that for us.
That is so powerful. Lulu, just the trauma of what you went through, and you've shared uh, in other contexts just the journey that you guys and your dad went through after your mom, well, first of all, had been ill for a while, and then she
Yeah,
passed. So that in itself is a motivation. I am really amazed as to as to the resolution you made right when you started a family. But this is me now starting to dig into things that we did not prepare. So just brace yourself. But was it because of what you had experienced in your childhood, or were there things that you also were going through in your marriage, and you saw these as red lights that you also wanted to address?
I believe it was entirely based on the journey I walked. I'm married. Dennis is my husband's name, and so I'll make a lot of reference to Dennis.
Mm,
Dennis and I were blessed,
mm,
where most couples don't have the privilege we had.
mm.
We were in courtship for like 5 years.
Wow.
And today's world is like 5 years. Oh my God, as Christians, y'all was like, no, no, no. I was in India going to school, and he was in Tanzania working.
Hmm.
But we made a decision that we were going to walk together for long enough to have a plan, to know where we're going, what we're doing with God and this thing. And so the 5 years gave us enough time to come up with all kinds of plans. By the time we got married, we were just, executing plans that we had, written down.
Oh.
So for us, it's not, we didn't have any red lights in that sense,
Mm,
but we had a challenge of this big vision that we had, put in front of us, where both of us came from financially broken families.
mm, mm,
I came from a family where my mother died young. He came from a family where his parents never got married and he was born out of wedlock. The
mm,
struggle of, finances, living between two families. So financially, we came from broken families, but
mhm.
we had a vision and we were like, okay, God's going to do this. God's going to bless us and we're going to help so many people. The question was, how are we going to do this? So when we got together, it was, we got to find tools. We got to find tools. Our families are not going to help because they don't know who is going to help us. So looking back at the path I walked growing up, it
Mhm.
really gave me a passion to do bigger and better. And one thing, Modesta, I'm going to tell you,
Mm,
my mother was with me for 14 years.
mm,
I turned 50 last month, but the lessons that woman taught me
mm.
ring a bell to this day and guide me to this day. She
Wow.
was always open handed to the poor. My mother would come back home with a random child,
Mm,
like, oh, I found them wandering the streets. They don't have anywhere to go. Move, you're going to sleep with them or give up your bed. My
mm,
mother, we had 14 people at any given time in our home. They had two kids, but it was always my dad's siblings, my mom's siblings, and they were paying for their education. So my mom and dad were generous people. I
mm,
grew up learning that life, your money is not just about you. It's
mm,
about you and the community around you and the extended community, especially the African community. You
mm,
got to go to the village and help somebody who could not come out, who could
mm,
not go to school. That's what I learned. So when I got married, I was like, okay, we're gonna save the world, but we need resources to do that. So yeah, I guess that's a long answer to a short question, but we came in hot. Like, we're gonna do this. It's not just for us; it's for the world, and we're gonna, empower the woman child. My mother was big on the woman child, the woman child in the village that cannot pay school fees, that cannot go to school because they want her to get married so they could get money. Like, we're going to give them resources, but wait, it needs money.
Yeah.
So we were like, we gotta do right and get money.
This is amazing, Lulu. You've opened up something else. You went through something traumatic as a child when you lost your mom, and what that actually meant to your family, as a family, but then also, financially. But you had also learned certain principles and certain ways of being that you wanted to also have in your life, but you thought, okay, but we need to figure out what this would look like. I love what you're saying, that it wasn't that I necessarily went into hardship or went through something else as an adult, but it is our vision as a couple that then led us to want to get ahead of this thing. Because some people might listen, right? And they'll be like, I don't think I'm really that far off. I'm kind of getting by every day, but I'm not in an emergency. There's no crisis here. And I've heard you before saying, well, what is the vision for your life? Because then that determines your financial stewardship. When we're talking about a person's welfare, beyond just I've got money or I don't have money, I'd like to ask you this, because I know that you and your husband put priorities on family, faith, and finances, right? The 3 F's.
Yes, yes.
How important is personal finance stewardship to a person's 360 development, like their total life development and well-being? How important is it?
I want to say it's as important as oxygen.
Ooh.
Because without oxygen circulating in one's body, we bury them. Like, it's over, And sometimes the medics can put oxygen tanks, breathing machines. They're trying to keep that person going, but we know if oxygen doesn't circulate in their body, if they're not able to do that on their own, they're done. The same thing with finances. It's really that important, and sometimes, as human beings, we like to say, oh, it's not all that. Money is not all that. Or Christians like to say, money is the root of evil. Honey, you don't read your Bible. It's the love of money. It's not money is the root of evil. Because, in a person's balanced, 360 reality of life, spiritual, mental, emotional, physical, personal, relational, professional, leadership, and the impact aspect, really, you need finances. I mean, if you want to get physically fit, yeah, you could put on your joggers and go jog. But if you hire a coach, you'll get there quicker. But guess what? You need to pay them, right? Mentally, a lot of people neglect the mental aspect. Why? Because it costs money. I need to sit with a coach. I need to sit with a thought leader. Oh, they're so bad. They charge money. Yes, they charge money. They charge money for the time they invested to get good at what they do. Or else you get the bottom of the barrel, the freebies, 5 minutes and then you're out. So it needs money if you're going to get healthy mentally. I mean, look at spiritually. Good God Almighty, if I'm going to church, I'm sold into a vision of a local church, which I should be as a believer. They need my money. They need my money to spread the gospel. They need my money to reach out to people who have need. They need my money to be a blessing to the community. They need my money. So if I go there and I'm like just a taker, bless me, teach me, equip me, but I'm giving the bare minimum, I'm not impacting my community through my local church. So it's, name it professionally. You cannot advance professionally if you're not investing financially in your profession. Wow. Like, name it, it needs money. So we can cut corners and do the bare minimum and explain ourselves away. But really, not being sound financially robs us of options. It robs us of options. And so we are forced to do the bare minimum with what is available. So, what am I saying? I'm not saying there's no hope if you don't have money. Absolutely not. But I'm saying if we get better at this financial thing, we're opening up a whole world of options that can come to us and make us better in what we do 360, and we can be more impactful in the communities that God has placed us. And that looks different for each one of us. What I call good money is not necessarily what another person calls good money. And good money is money that fuels the endeavor I have to carry out the vision that God has given us. That's good money. So if God has
Say that one more
the
time. Good money is?
good money
Uh-huh.
is it money that is enough in my hands to fuel for me to carry out the endeavor, the vision that God has given to me. That's good money.
Wow.
Because a lot of times people are like, what's good money? $1,000,000, 500,000, 10,000? No, good money is good. Good money is money that will make me carry out the vision. The vision I'm given, not the vision Modesta is given. If Modesta is called worldwide, guess what? The need she will have with money is bigger than if I'm called for my community. So I think sometimes people look out the window too much and forget to look inside where they are and have the vision very clear to know what they need financially. And so, oh, I need what kind of car, what kind of house, what kind of this. No, no, no. You're forgetting. You have a vision to carry out. The resources that God is channeling your way are to help you fulfill the vision He has given you, not the vision somebody else has. And so it totally relies on vision. And I believe when we're clear on that and when we can anchor ourselves on that, we find reason to be good stewards. We find reason to plan our finances. We find reasons to figure out how to make the money we have grow because we know vision relies on it.
So good. Then we're not just living any which way. Because another thing that we do. So part of the reasons people want to get into leadership positions, right, higher up, not just so they can impact more. That's nice and benevolent and virtuous. But people also want to get higher pay, right? If I get a promotion, I'm going to get
Totally.
higher pay,
Yeah.
and power and whatever else that comes with it, and all the other perks. But too many leaders still live paycheck by paycheck. Why is that?
Money amplifies who we are.
Eh?
Money amplifies who we are. So if we're not engaging the resources, the people who are equipped to help us get better in our stewardship, and we just throw more money at the situation, get promotions, make more, but we're still the same people, we're still walking the same principles, we're just being amplified. The carelessness is being amplified. The wastage is being amplified. The loss of structure is being amplified. Oh, buying more houses because I have more money. That's a good thing. Girl, if you don't have a plan, buying more houses is really not a good thing. So we really need at the level we're at. I don't care if you're at a 10 or a 2 on a scale of 1 to 10. We need to grow in financial literacy before that next promotion. I always say, I stole this from Bishop Jakes, build a cage before you go hunting. I love to use it. Build a cage before you go hunting. You're going to get a promotion. You're going to make more money. If you're diligent about your, work, you're going to make more money at some point. Why don't you prepare today? Why don't you build that cage? Build that strategic plan today before you get that money, before you get that promotion. So when the money comes, you just pull out a folder and you know exactly where it's going to go. I think most people, oh, I got a raise. I had somebody just call me, hey, sis, I got a $30,000 raise a year. And I said, based on what you know about me, what am I going to ask you? She goes, oh, shoot. You're going to ask me what I'm going to do with it. I said, okay. And the answer is, she goes, I don't have a plan yet, but she gave me this long thing. And I was like, that's hogwash. Get off the phone. Call me when you have something more sensible to tell me. Why? I can talk to that person that way because I have walked with them, I have coached them, and I expect better of them. You're getting a $30,000 raise. You telling me you didn't see it coming? You didn't plan? You didn't build a cage before you went hunting? What are you talking about? And so I just want to encourage each one of us. Look, if we trust God as leaders and we believe for increase, it's time to build a cage before we go hunting. It's time to dig a well before we get thirsty. When that money is in your hand, it's too late. They say being on time is late. Getting a plan when the money is in your bank account, you're behind. So we need to be ahead of this game if, in fact, we're going to be good stewards of that which God is bringing our way.
Ooh. So far, I hear you saying, what is your vision? What is your vision, right? What is your vision for your life? And of course, that includes, your 360-degree life. What is that vision? And then come back to the present. What is the investment that you're willing to make to fulfill that vision? And what is the preparation you're making for the increase that you're pursuing? Whether
Right.
that's a job promotion, whether that's a business, whatever it is, it's a prayer, right? You put out. Where is the preparation to show that you're mixing your faith with action?
Absolutely.
I feel you challenging us this way, and I'd like you to please share with us your approach to building financial security for us as individuals and our families, for impact, for the work, for the vision that we're called to. When you coach people through this, what do you guide them through? What do we need to have in place?
Oh, it's a loaded question, but I believe I'm a firm believer in simple is better. If
Hmm.
someone goes to school for 7 years and they want to teach us what they learned in 7 years, good God, they'll lose us at 6 months into it. So simplifying it is key. I'm very big on vision, like you said, and we're professional people. We're leaders in our areas. So when you talk about profession, career, business, most of us have a business plan. But okay, let's go to personal finances. We walk by faith. Okay, faith without works is dead. And Habakkuk says in 2:2, I believe, write the vision, make it plain on tablets. Today, we don't write on tablets, we write on paper, we write on iPads, we write on computers. Write the vision, make it plain on the computer. Write the vision, make it plain on your iPhone so he may run who reads it. It gives us direction, it gives us focus. And so when we talk about personal finances, one of the things I learned along the way that has been a guide in the journey, and I find easy to pass on, is building a financial house. And it's easy for us to grasp because I hope all of us live in houses. Okay, I gotta say this. When we came to the United States 22 years ago, we would get questions like, "Oh, do you guys have houses in Africa?" I'm like, okay, you've been watching too much
Right?
National Geographic. You need to get off that National Geographic.
The gods must be
And
crazy. Maybe that
the
movie
odds must be
with,
crazy.
yeah,
Stop it. Like,
yeah,
we have Coke bottles too. But anyway,
yeah.
that's besides the point. I believe we all live in some sort of shelter.
Uh huh.
So it's easy for us to wrap our minds around building a house.
Hmm.
And when I talk to my American counterparts, it's harder because they buy houses that are already built. If a house is being built, a tarp is wrapped around the perimeter, and when it's done, they take off the tarp. But those of us that come from specifically Africa, we know, oh, it's time to lay the foundation. We know it's going to be a bunch of people moving around, working. It's a tough job, and then it's time to raise the walls. Oh, it's time to put the roofing. We know the process, and so I borrow that and apply it to finances. Foundation. You build a foundation. The house is as strong as your foundation. My foundation says if a tornado came or if a storm came, El Nino, whatever, swept my house, the foundation would be found sturdy. What does that mean? I can rebuild on a strong foundation. So when we're talking about personal finances, that's your life insurance. Life insurance, to my listener, is not for you. Stop looking for a life insurance that is for you. This is a beautiful name the West gave it because they don't like negativity, or reality rather. It was originally called death insurance. Death insurance is for the people we leave behind. Okay, so stop. Oh, I want the one that can pay me, honey. There are other things that will pay you. Life insurance is a foundation. If everything was to be swept off, I can rebuild because I have a firm foundation. Okay, so life insurance. We got to make sure we're secure. Husband and wife. Husband and wife. I can't stand the idea. I have more than half of the population insured where the wife has life insurance and the husband doesn't have life insurance. And the wife has made her husband the beneficiary. Okay, you're going to cut that nonsense out.
Mm.
Honey, if you don't see the value of this and you don't want to pay, so when you die, that company will give me money to take care of these children you brought into the world.
Mm.
I don't understand you, but I will meet you halfway.
Mm.
Don't have a policy, don't pay for it. You're not going to be the beneficiary on mine. That is just sobriety. It's, oh, my husband doesn't want to have a life insurance. I have it though. Who's the beneficiary of my husband? Are you out of your rabbit mind? If he doesn't believe in it, then he doesn't want it. Make the children your beneficiary. Yes, you can have him listen to me. Absolutely. I will say this to his face. Because if you don't believe in it, why do you want to believe in getting mine? Let's both not have it. But I care enough to make sure the kids are okay if I leave. Oh, but they're little. I don't care. I will sit there until they turn 18 because you refuse to get right and do what you know to do. Anyway, let me not go on a tangent, rabbit hole. So, husband and wife insure each other for the benefit of each other to take care of your kids or whatever. Then the second tier would be emergency funds. We're building, right? Emergency funds. Come on. I wish the car told me when it was going to get a flat tire. I wish the car told me when it was going to break down. I wish the refrigerator said, oh, I'm going to break down on this, a date, be ready. They don't. A little bit at a time, we want to have at least 3 to 6 months worth of expenses. So if you're living the high life, you need to have 6 months worth of your high life. If you lose a job, yeah, you can have it. Yes. Yes. If you get sick and you're in a coma, you better have your family be able to live for 6 months off of your savings, that same high life. Don't live a high life today and you get sick, your family has to go get on food stamps. That's hogwash. It means you can't afford to live the high life. Lower your life so you can put away for the rainy day. 3 to 6 months. Now, oh, I don't have much, start somewhere. Save $10. It's better than zero. Okay. After the emergency funds, then we talk about a defensive strategy. Insurances, auto insurance, homeowners insurance. A lot of people regard these as bills. No, this is a defensive strategy. If I'm saving money for an emergency, if I have money put away for college, for retirement, and I hit somebody's Tesla, and I have the bare minimum insurance, the state requirement, you know where they're coming? To my savings, to my investments. So you can't have these investments, resources, and not have proper coverages in your auto insurance, homeowners. Where we live in the West, if a thief comes and steals at your house and you chase them and they trip, fall, and hurt, they break their leg, you're liable because they got hurt on your property. You better take care of the hospital bill.
I'm hearing our African listeners responding to that. I can just imagine. I won't even say what I'm imagining
Yeah,
responding.
yeah. We like what we said when we came to this country. That's crazy. That's no. That's asset protection.
Mm,
That's
mm,
all it is.
mm,
When you have no assets to protect, those things seem like out there.
mm,
And even those of us that are in Africa, look, if you're building wealth, you gotta protect it. So your auto insurance, homeowners insurance. If you have a business insurance is a non-negotiable
mm,
because you will get sued. I promise you will get sued.
mm,
When we were in courtship, my husband had a videography business. He worked for ITV in Tanzania. He did a side business. He shot a commercial. There was a lady that passed in the background when he was shooting. He had
mm,
no idea. When
mm,
that commercial aired, I think she was very intentional. She sued him.
mm,
Back then, 10 million shillings was a lot of money.
mm,
But thank God, he had attorneys and did it, worked it out. So if you have a business insurances are non-negotiable. That's the third tier, okay, the insurances. Life insurance goes first. If you don't have life insurance and you have auto insurance and homeowners, you're telling me you're willing to protect your home and your car that can be replaced, and you will not protect your income that cannot be replaced the day you die. That's backwards. And then we move from that now to the fourth tier, which is retirement planning.
But before you go into retirement planning, going back to
Yes.
what you just said, I have insurance for these vehicles, these things, right? Really, just so that the companies amongst them, can take care of things, but I won't have life insurance to take care of my family.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right, the fourth tier.
Yeah, when you put it that way, it's like, okay. And another way you can look at it, Modesta, is I value this car so much, I'm willing to protect it and pay monthly happily, but I don't value my ability to bring income home to protect it, because life insurance is protecting my income.
Yeah. So as to protect also my family.
Absolutely.
So
So I don't value
them.
what I
I
do.
don't value my family enough to have, a monthly investment toward protecting them, but
Yeah.
I value my car.
In case it goes down, I need to be able to buy a new one. It's selfishness, if we want
Oh,
to call it for
goodness.
what it is. Yeah. So I've been in the financial space for 15 years. My kids grew up hearing life insurance, invest for retirement, Roth IRA, like from the age of 2. Joshua was 8 years old. I got a phone call from a friend that he knows who was crying. The brother had died, and they were asking for donations to bury this child. And he listened to me talk. My friend knows me. And I was like, y'all know, I tell you to get life insurance. You don't want to get life insurance. Don't call me for GoFundMe. I seem shrewd, but don't call me. I will give if I choose to, but I will not give out an obligation to bury a person you guys couldn't take, whatever. So anyway, I got off the phone and Joshua was like 8 years old. He says, Mommy, I have some money. He had his, like, I don't know, $30 in the bank. I have some money. Can I buy life insurance for me? I said, why? We were driving. I was like, babe, why? He said, if I die, Mommy, I don't want you calling other people and asking for money while you're sad. 8 years old. I said, baby, it's okay. Daddy and I have life insurance on you already. He said, no, but I want my own. I said, okay, when you turn 18, baby, you can get your own. Right now, you're fine. He said, okay, but I have money, Mama. It was so cute. Anyway, fast forward, the day he turned 18, happy birthday, he said, where do I sign for my life insurance? And I'm paying for it myself. I said, I'm so proud of you. What a man.
Wow.
I sit with 50-year-old men who have 4 or 5 kids and have to convince them the importance of protect. Okay, I'm not going to go there.
No, please go there. Please go there. Please go there, because we are getting the messages and the requests. We are contributing toward things that people know well in advance they'll come in. School fees shows up in January every year where I come from. Children show up every 9 months where I come from. There's a preparation period there.
My husband died. I need help. Yes. But when your husband was alive, you both knew there's a day we're going to die. I'm sick of hearing that excuse. We all know we're going, we just don't know when, right? We all know we're going to die.
Yeah.
Oh, he died suddenly. he died suddenly, yes, but he knew he was going to die someday. So I always say, plan like you're dying tomorrow and live like you're going to live till 120. Then you're good. But you can't just live like you're going to live until 120 and not plan like you're going to die tomorrow. And then your emergency, your lack of planning becomes our emergency. Oh, you need to help sister so and so because they didn't plan. Call it for what it is.
Oof.
Now there are people who can't afford. If you can't put food on your table, life insurance is not a conversation we need to have. But if you can take a vacation to Dubai and you could buy the Coach bag and the Michael Kors bag and you don't have life insurance, we should just lock you in a room and beat you. At this point, talking is not working. We should just beat you. Tier 4. So the retirement planning. If I don't die before retirement, I will retire, right? So I have life insurance in case I die before I retire. My family can continue on the same standard of living. They're not going to be the Kardashians, but they can continue doing what we were doing. The plan is intact. If I do live until retirement, girl, after working all these years, I want to be able to relax, have a good time. Therefore, I need to put away for retirement.
Mm.
I get phone calls like, oh, family members, they're sick, they need to go to the hospital, they're retired, right? And
Mm.
I tell my kids, hey, grandma so and so, we need to help. Why? Because she's in retirement. My daughter wants to be an attorney,
Mm.
so she thinks like that.
Mm.
She says, you want to tell me when they were working, they were young and strong, they didn't know there's a day they would retire? I say, they did. So why didn't they plan? I'm like, mommy, okay, that's not how it works. Where I come from, I make excuses.
Mm.
Okay, that's a generation that's before us. We have an opportunity to do different.
Oh my goodness.
If I am not putting money into a retirement fund, I have no business going to Dubai for Christmas with the family.
Oh my goodness.
If I'm not putting money away into a retirement fund, I have no business going to South Africa with the family for Christmas. Keeping up with the Joneses is not going to help when it's retirement time.
Mm.
Maybe I just need to go to Mikumi in Morogoro.
Mm.
Maybe I just need to go to Mbudia. Maybe I need to do something within my scope, within my budget, so that I can put some money away for retirement. And we have to look at the 360, the holistic approach,
Mm.
not just today. So when it comes to retirement, that's a tier in itself. And now when we dig deeper, we break down each tier because there's so many options. What fits for one does not fit for another. We have annuities. We have individual retirement accounts. We have pension plans with employers. People put money into a pension plan and then when they retire, they're shocked. Ah, I didn't know they're going to give me this much. What were you thinking? Who did you ask?
Mm.
I was just putting that is carelessness.
Mm.
Every pension plan has an actuarial table where you can tell if I keep putting this, when I get to the retirement age, this is how much I will get. You can know that today.
Wow.
So we begin to unpack it. Well, is my pension going to be enough? And this is what I teach, just a little bit deeper.
Mm.
Three-legged stool. We all need a three-legged stool. You need a pension plan. If you don't work for a company that does pensions, you need an individual pension-like plan, an annuity of the sort. And then you need an individual retirement account outside of the 401k or outside the corporate plan. You can open up a plan that you fund every month. After these tiers, then you have the tier I call recreation. Okay? I think we plan more for our vacations and recreations than we do for all the other tiers combined. But that should be the last. Okay? When I've funded all this, well, how much do we have left? What kind of vacation can we afford? It's not what kind of vacation do we want to take. What kind of vacation can we afford?
Given the vision we have for our financial future.
Thank you. Am I willing to take away from my retirement so I can go to Dubai today? I hope the answer is no. I hope the answer is no. But for most of us, we don't answer it, but our actions say no.
We don't even ask it. Forget about what we don't even ask. We don't. What is that about, by the way? Why are we not future oriented?
It's easier. It's easier to do that. It takes
Oh.
work to be focused. It takes work to look at yourself in the mirror and address yourself. It takes work to put together a plan. It's easy to just go along and do whatever. It's easy. It's default. We're on that what is it called? Factory setting. Default. That's how we come out of our mama's womb. Selfish, about me, do me, and tomorrow comes, I'm going to be like, oh my God, what now? I didn't know. Well, that's I'm at your door. And we do have seasons of dryness, loss of job, and unforeseen circumstances. And sometimes we do need people to hold our hands, but it can't be habitual. You're the one who has emergencies every day since I met you 15 years ago. No, you don't have a plan. So recreation needs to be planned. It needs to be planned. When do we take a vacation? It's imperative for a functional individual to have time off for enjoyment. It is imperative, but it has to be planned. Oh, I'm so exhausted. I'm just going to take 2 weeks off. You didn't plan it. Now you're going to take money from your emergency fund and go on vacation because you're stressed. But if you plan, when I came out here, I used to be like, hey, these Americans, I take vacation every year. Huh? Why? I'd never taken a vacation in my lifetime. Why? But then I look at the work they do, the investments they make in their careers. If you don't get time off, you become counterproductive. So if you're surviving and you're proud of yourself because you don't take vacations, you're not productive. Your mind doesn't get tired. You don't need a break because you're not doing the optimum you could be. You take a vacation to refuel. Your mind, like around this time of year, my mind is spent and I can plan to take time off. Oh, I'm so proud of myself. I never take time off. Honey, you're not doing the most. It's not something to be proud of. So you plan for time off. Those of us that live out here and we have family at home, you plan. Okay, this time next year I'm going to go home. Therefore, I need to save this much. November, the Holy Spirit is leading me to go home. Okay, the Holy Spirit is leading you to go home. Where's the money? You take your mortgage payment and you go home, and then you come back, you're in default. And I'm like, that, that's not the Holy Ghost. The Holy Ghost is leading me to, no. Planning. Okay. And then now for the believer, we have giving. Giving is before you start the foundation. Guys, giving is, you don't negotiate your tithe. We're talking about after giving God what belongs to to him, whatever is left, this is what we do with it. And I'm coming to the roof. Every house has a roof, whether it's a modern, flat roof, or it's an old corrugated iron sheet roof, or it's the dry leaves in the village, whatever. Every house has a roof. And the roof is based on the standard or the quality of the home you have. You're not going to have a 2-story building with the leaves on the roof. Matemba, we call it in Tanzania in the villages. You're not going to have that. You're going to have a sensible roof, right? So the roof is the legal aspect to protect whatever is inside. Wow. Elements of the weather protect, the roof protects the house from elements of the weather. Beautiful house, beautiful furniture you buy, marble floors, this, that. If you don't put a roof and it rains, guess what happens? Everything is destroyed, right? Same thing in the financial world. Your roof protects every valuable thing in the financial house. Your roof is your will. Your wishes. I worked so hard to put this together. When I'm gone, what do I want to happen to this?
Yeah.
Your medical directives. If I'm in a coma, this is what I would like for people to do. Don't put that on your spouse. And then we need a power of attorney. One of the most powerful documents in the financial space. If I'm in a coma, who do I authorize to sign on my behalf? It has to be on a document. I'll tell you a little story. There was a man with a family, and he was a businessman. The wife was a stay-at-home mother. He earned all the income, and it went into his business account, and he would take from business to give to wife to take care of things. He got in an accident, went into a coma. Money, millions sitting in his business account. No power of attorney. Nobody could take money out. Mortgage wasn't being paid. Cars weren't being paid. She ran out of money for groceries. They almost lost the house going into foreclosure. But there's money sitting there. She can see the balance.
Wow.
Because that document was not there. Thank God he woke up from the coma. I think the first thing she was like, sign this check. I need money.
No.
But it doesn't have to be that way.
Yeah.
And if you feel like you can't trust your spouse because if you get into a coma, they're going to pull out everything and buy a Lamborghini, there's somebody you trust. Your oldest child, I don't know, your sister, your brother-in-law, your sister-in-law, figure it out. But have somebody that you trust that can be on your power of attorney, POA. That's the roof. Last but not least, the chimney. Houses have chimneys. That's debt. We got to take care of debt. Credit card debt, college education debt, mortgages, car loans. We got to get out of debt. I mean, think about this. Loans that people pull out, personal loans for lines of businesses, whatever the case. Add all the payments you're making towards debt monthly. If that was gone from your financial picture, how much impact could you have on your vision?
Wow.
How much impact could you have on your vision? I need to upgrade the car. Why? Because your vision is not clear. My car is almost paid off. I'm going to go get in debt to get a new one so I can keep paying monthly. Why?
Right.
Because your vision is not big enough. You have a small vision. If your vision is big enough, you're like, you know what? I need to pay off this car. I'll drive it to the ground so this money can go towards the vision that we have.
Yeah.
And if you have enough money to live happily with your little family and nobody else is benefiting from the finances you have, you're doing a poor job.
Mm.
Poor job. And if you have money where everybody is benefiting, your cousins, your in-laws, your this, your that, and your family is struggling, you're doing a poor job.
Mm.
Creating that balance to where we can take care of our families, but also reach out to somebody else and empower them to do greater than we have done, to go to school more than we have gone, to give them a capital so they can start a chicken coop business. That money I'll probably take my friend out for lunch. Two of us will blow it in one day, but if I give it to a widow in the village, she'll start a chicken coop business that will save her kids. Like, we can do things for the community. Would someone be so impacted to where when you're gone, they will forever tell of how you carried them from one step of their lives to another step because you impacted them financially, because you taught them principles that you lived that help. It's not necessarily giving them money. So the financial principles are not just for us, but for us, and then we can turn around and impact somebody else. These financial principles are not just for us, ladies and gentlemen. These financial principles are for us to live out and to impact the next generation. Today we talk about COVID, the Rockefellers, because somebody in their family drew a line in the sand and said, my family is forever going to remember me. Our family name is going to be carried on for generations because I'm going to do the hard things. It's not easy. But who is going to be the one to do those hard things?
So good. Lulu, as always, I don't know how I can continue to listen to you, and I'm impacted as if it's the first time I've ever heard you speak. I love how the Lord moves through you. And I just love your freedom and how free you are to, we have this saying in Swahili. I'm going to say it in Swahili and then I'll translate it. Kwamba panya anang'ata na kupuliza. So that a mouse, or let me call it a rat will bite and then blow so that you don't really feel where the bitten. You just wake up and you're all gnawed out. For those who are just getting nightmares right now, like, where would you be where a rat is? Don't worry, that's a whole story for another day. But just know that they have that tendency. They will gnaw at your toes and then blow, and you won't know until the next morning, and you have half a toe. So Lulu does that, right? There's a point today. You said, I just want to encourage you. You weren't encouraging at all. You said, I was like, that's not the word I would use. You're really challenging and you're hammering us. But this is important. When you were making some references, some of them were real life stories from you and your kids. Some of them were anecdotal, and you were saying, we would rather lie to ourselves. We would rather explain away. We would rather pretend. We come from a culture that perpetuates irresponsibility and recklessness, and then we cover it by coming together and helping. We think we're covering each other's nakedness as if it is out of nowhere that this person has become naked, but we perpetuate that culture. And I thank you for calling those things out. Lulu, if people want to reach out to you, what can they reach out to you for? Because we've made so many references to the U.S. Can people from outside the U.S. reach out to you for your coaching?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You said this earlier. My husband and I have a ministry that we run, and our focus is in impacting lives in the areas of faith, family, and finances. So outside of being a professional in the personal finance space, we're also in ministry, and the principles apply globally. Live below your means. It applies everywhere. So there are principles that we can glean on globally, especially as believers. The kingdom of God, the kingdom agenda in this day needs our finances.
Yeah.
Me buying another Rolls Royce, which I'm not going to, and neither can I afford, but me buying another Rolls Royce and not being able to pay for 10 orphan children to go to secondary school in the kingdom is like what's wrong with you? You need a brain surgery or something, you know?
mm,
So we need to grow up and rise above the day to day, rise above, placating ourselves and the wants we have, and
mm,
look at the kingdom agenda in these last days. So, yes, to answer your question, Modesta, depending on where an individual is, we customize. If we're talking about stewardship, it's global. But then if somebody is in the United States and they need a little bit more than principles, like put the wheels on the car, then yes, I do have those licenses and I can walk them through products that can put wheels on the vehicle to move. But regardless, I'm reachable directly through my email, and I prefer my personal email, L as in Lacey, M as in Mary, dot my last name, M as in Mary, A as in Apple, S as in Sam, S as in Sam, A as in Apple, W as in Wendy, E as in Elephant, lm.massawe@gmail.com. Best way to reach me hands on. I have somebody that looks at that on a daily basis, or a direct phone number. I get lots of phone calls and texts. I have a mechanism to return them. I may take a minute, but you will hear back from me because it's important to me. 951-837-9501. I've had that number, I think, for like 16 years, and it remains. Yeah, so I'm reachable.
so good. I am so grateful. There's a word you keep using in your bio, and that's maximizing. When, without finances and good financial stewardship, you're unable to maximize the life you should live and the impact you should have.
Right.
The levels at which you grow, um, there are times God will just ask you to make investments in yourself or in others or towards something, and you can only participate, you can only climb up to the level of your financial stewardship. Oh my goodness. I mean, just saying that.
Phenomenal. Vision is everything. Let me just share one little bit, Modesta, before I let you wind us up. My cornerstone, my anchor scripture is, a good man leaves an inheritance to his children's children, but a sinner's wealth is laid up for the just. So if you're a good man, Adam, male and female, if you're a good man, a good woman, it will be seen, it will be measured by what you leave. Not for your children, for your grandchildren. Will it make it 2 generations down? I'm a good man. Okay, is it going to make it 2 generations down? Because that's what good people do. Good people don't just spend money. Good people don't just give alms. Good people don't just, they leave an inheritance to their next and to 2 generations down. And do we have a track record? If I was to sit down with someone today and ask them, can you show me in writing some of your goals, plans financially 10 years ago? Can you show me 5 years ago? It doesn't matter how much money you have in the bank. That's not what we're talking about, because we said money amplifies who you are. The more
Mm,
money you get, it makes you stronger, firmer, more exposed in the things you're doing now, the things you did years ago. So it's important. If we're going to grow, we have to, leaders think in ink. Financially, same thing, we think in ink. We can't abort those principles when we come to money, especially believers, because now we're like guided by the Spirit. I was in the Bahamas 2 weeks ago, and I had my notebook from 1996.
oh, wow.
And my kids make fun of me. They're like, "Oh my God, you always drag these things everywhere you go. Like, take everything from me, but don't take my notebooks. Like,
Wow.
that is a non-negotiable." So I had this one because it was right before. It was as we were making plans, towards marriage, and we were writing things down.
Mm,
And I looked at one of the budgets I had in there. I didn't know anything. I didn't even know that God would give me space to speak into people's lives about money. But
wow.
I had my little budget. I wanted to buy my then to be, not husband, but, relational significant other shirts.
Hmm.
So I budgeted in Indian rupees 36,
Hmm.
and I wanted to buy an iron. So when we get married, we would have an iron, and I wrote a budget.
Yeah.
And it was a little budget, and I was looking at it.
Yeah.
And some of the goals, 5-year goals, 10-year goals that I had written. So I was looking at that and taking an account. Where am I today? How far off am I from that
Mm,
30-year ago vision?
mm,
Now, if you don't have a 30-year ago vision,
Mm.
you can start today. Next year, you can say, I have a 1 year old plan.
Yeah.
2 years from now, you can have a 2 year old. But if you don't start today,
Yeah.
you're not going to have anything to look back.
Yeah.
Too many of our people have businesses, and when they die, the businesses die with them, duplicating ourselves, generational,
Mm.
wealth. If you have succeeded, but your kids have no clue how you did it, you have failed.
You've done nothing.
And sometimes children will refuse to learn. That's fine, biological, but you will find somebody, a child in the community, that will listen to you.
Mm.
Teach them.
Mm.
The Apostle Paul says he was emptied. He was emptied in his space.
Mm.
Maybe you're not called to be a preacher like Paul. You're not called to write the Bible like Paul. But are you being emptied
Mm.
in your space?
Mm. By leaving an inheritance to your children's children.
Yes. And not just money, principles.
Exactly. Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Principles.
Mm.
So we got to be big on that.
That is so good. Lulu, thank you so much for coming in. I knew you and the Holy Spirit and the passion of your work and the experience you have and just, I mean, I don't know how many people you've helped, but just the process that I went through with you. Listen, whoever's listening in, and we're going to have Lulu's contact details in the description of this episode. You're meeting a person who's personable. She is real. You're meeting a professional par excellence. You're meeting somebody who's versed in her area. And this is why I asked her that question about being able to transfer what she's sharing here across domains and across the world. She is able to. And you know, one of the things that I'm amazed is as much as you're hearing this fire, when she sees you and where you're at, she doesn't, wail and hold her head and say, "Oh, disaster, disaster." Who would have thought? Look at you. No, no, no. I mean, she's unfazed. It's kind of like going to a doctor and you're showing your worst and they're just like, clinical gloves, looking at you. She doesn't judge, right? And this is why I loved, as we we're concluding, you just said, whatever your age is, start today. Just start today. Start today so you can build something you can look back on, but most importantly, something that you can look forward to, you and those to come after you. Lulu, this is amazing. Thank you for joining us at the Modesta Maiga 360 Leadership Podcast. I cannot wait to have you come in again, because when you were talking about that financial house, you're saying there's so many things I can go into depths in. I'm just giving you an outline. Maybe we can pick each part of that house as a topic over the years, and then you can unpack those for us.
Absolutely. What an honor to be here with you. Thank you for giving me the time, the space to share that which I've been given in this journey. And I always tell people, look, when I'm speaking to myself as well. Don't get it
Mm-hmm.
twisted. Oh my God, she got it made. No. I have a coach. My coach has been in the financial space for over 40 years. I get yelled at as well. So be encouraged. Wherever you are, be encouraged. Just have somebody hold your hand and let's move. Let's run together as an army for God and take over. But thank you again. Thank you for having me. It's always an honor, always a privilege. I leave more blessed than those who are going to listen. And I look forward for us having another session in the future as the Lord allows us.
Amen and amen. Lulu, thank you so much. Our 360 leadership community, you have heard from an excellent person, leader, professional, and I really do hope that you will reach out to her. She shared her number +1-951-837-9501 and her email address lm.massawe that has a double S at gmail.com. And of course, we're going to put them on the description. Please do subscribe to the Modesta Maiga 360 Leadership Podcast and leave a review. Like what you heard today, leave a review of the nuggets that you pulled out and let us know what else you'd like to hear from a topic such as this. And we can have Lulu back and other experts coming in to address that for you. And make sure to share this. More of us need to hear what Lulu shared here today. So thank you so much for always being there, for listening, for growing with us. Until next time we meet on the Modesta Maiga 360 Leadership Podcast, have an awesome rest of the month. Bye.